welcome back to the gray space. I'm Zeke, that is Dray.
Yepers.
And you know we got another fire one for you guys this week.
Yeah, man, y'all already know. Subscribe to become part of the tribe. Do us right. Hit that like. Comment. You're rocking with the content now. Things are starting to heat up out here in the valley.
Right?
Spring is on that ass like a dirty diaper.
Yeah, that out here we don't get spring, bro.
So it is 42 at night and 75, 80 during the day. And it's mad overcast, so it's mad humid. Mm-hmm. And everybody talking about, I love it when it warm. No, stop that. Because it goes from 75 to 100. You know what I mean? It's so hot you can't even talk about it. I'm like, man,
it's like you breathe the fire, man.
Come on, man.
What you saying?
Come on, man. Like you got your ashy voice on. Man. But we are back another week, the Gray Space.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. Yeah, man. What's good, bro?
Same old, man. You know, just here doing this.
This week was long as hell, dog.
Yeah. For you? It was actually really short for me.
Was it?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
my God.
Usually we're
I thought it was Friday 3 days in a row.
You did tell me that the other day.
I was like, Lord Shissa.
You did tell me that on Thursday. You were like, it's not Friday today?
I was hurt. Hurt.
Oh, bro.
Hurt.
I'm glad it's not, because I would have jumped a day off, man. That would have sucked.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I can't stand that, though.
Yeah.
That there is something about that, dude, that I cannot stand. It's like it throws your week, days.
And the days just been long, like low key, like I'll be getting stuff done and I look up and I'm like, man, it's only 10:30. Why? Like you thinking it's like noon,
right?
1, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You look up and it's 10:24, like ugh, why? You know what I'm saying? Ugh. So yeah, man. Other than that, man, yeah, man, glad we made it to the weekend. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Got a long week ahead of me, man. Kids are on spring break. Shout out to all the parents that are dealing with kids on spring break.
Yeah, man. Yep.
You know, this is a
busy time of the year.
It's
for
a
sure.
weird, yeah,
but
transitional.
I do like this time of the year, though, dude. Like, I love spring and fall. Now, kind of going back to what you said earlier, like here out in the desert,
it springs into summer.
And instantaneously. Now, you do have every once in a while, and I'm kind of hoping this is one of those years. We'll see. It's yet to, because we are already pushing 80.
Right.
So, but I like when it sticks around in those 70s, 80s for a little bit, man. That is awesome. But bro, like, that rarely happens.
Right.
It'll go like 80 for like maybe a week, and then it's like 99.
No, it's okay.
And then you're like, wait a second, man. I was just enjoying
What
this.
happened?
Yeah. So.
And the overcast too throws everything off.
Oh yeah.
Because it makes it humid. Mm-hmm. So it's like just nasty.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, I mean, I do prefer it warmer. I know that's just me. You know, for like health reasons, it feels better for me. You know, not 120. That's not what I'm talking about. Just to make it clear. So when it's really hot and really cold, I don't like it. And I think everybody's probably somewhere right around in that area anyways. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Everybody wants that perfect 85.
Oh, dude, everybody wants it, right? Like, but it does feel good, dude, like just to feel like your joints warm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, because when it's cold, man, is when it's the worst.
Yeah.
Your joints hurt. The older you get, the worse it gets. Mm-hmm. So all you youngins out there listening or watching, just prepare yourself. It gets worse when you get older. Your joints start.
Had that WD-40 on,
dude. For sure.
So, got a question, man.
Yeah. What you got?
Got a question, man. Are classics overstated nowadays? This is a few part question. So there's going to be multiple layers to this.
Okay.
But I want to start there. Are classics overstated nowadays? The reason I ask this is because a lot of music, obviously we had the interview with Lexi Michon, and we were talking about how things, from like the 2000s, the early 2000s are now being recycled and sampled.
Right.
And hip hop has always been a genre that samples, that pays, homage to the time before. Obviously it was created off of using sampled music, right? Records. But for a long time, it was, what your parents grew up on. And then it was just even an era of like the 60s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s that was constantly being sampled and reused and flipped and remixed and whatever. But now everybody's sampling the 2000 stuff. And also when they're putting out these projects, like I think when a lot of artists are putting out projects, you're seeing a lot of like people are like, man, instant classic. I'm like, how? Classic?
So like,
because to me, like a classic it really has to stand the test of time. And even I'm not even just albums, but records. Like,
right,
so we were
right.
talking about, I was talking and me and the wifey was talking about Fat Joe. And like Fat Joe, I never really rocked with his full projects.
Right.
But Fat Joe has dropped timeless records, bro.
Sure.
Timeless, like hits, right? So like he has classic records.
Right.
Lean Back. You know what I'm saying? What was the one we were just listening to? Damn, I can't think of the name of it. I can hear it, but I can't think of the name. But he's got classic records, right? 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. It's a classic record.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just bought the vinyl for Outkast.
Southern Playlist of Cadillac.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
like
sure.
these are classics, but
Classics, yeah.
But in the moment they weren't. In the moment they were very good albums.
Right. So, but my question to you would be also, because we do throw that term around every once in a while when we hear something. You know what I mean? Like, but we will say, oh, this is a classic album, even though it hasn't stood the test of time. Like the JID album, for example.
But see, we have the benefit. We have the benefit of having listened to music for over 30 years.
Okay, so you're talking about the kids,
right? Like, are these like, are we overstating classics?
See, but the problem is, I'm gonna fight back on you on this just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with it.
But I'm with you, but I'm not with you.
Okay,
and the reason is this: when you grow up in a specific time period, it's your music, and you don't look at it, and I know I don't look at it for sure, this new era of music as my music. Now, is there good stuff in it?
Right.
Yes, absolutely. But my era of music is 90s. It's just straight up from like basically 93 to early 2000s for me. That's like my era of music, right? It doesn't get any better than that era.
I'm with you.
So the problem is that I can say, oh, okay, cool. The stuff in the 80s and the 70s, the 60s, the 50s were cool, right?
Right.
Some stuff, not everything, but there's stuff, amazing stuff back then. But not my era of music.
Right.
Okay, so jump to the kids today. When they hear an album, they might be right, bro. They might be right that it's a classic. To them, it's a classic.
Okay, so
to us, it's necessarily not a classic.
Okay, so now, okay, go ahead.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm with you.
So
I hear what you're saying.
For us, it's like, oh, you got to stand the test of time now.
Right.
But to them, they're like, no, this is going to be classic for me, and it probably will for a big group of people. that's going to be a classic album no matter what happens.
Okay, so I'm somewhat with you, and standing the test of time is not that is really why it's a classic, right?
It has to stand the test of time. It can still be dated in the sense of like, that's like the Beatles or
no. So I'm with you. I'm with you. Right. I'm with you. But here's my thing. Even the eras before us, right? So mine is like my era is like a blend of like 90s and like early 2000s. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yours and mine are probably fairly close.
Fairly close.
Right.
It's a blend of like,
you're probably
like my favorite years is like probably 93 to like 2008.
Right.
2006, somewhere around that.
I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So, but that's not to say that like I wasn't tuned into the shit my mom listened to and the shit my dad listened to. Like I can also recognize like the Isley Brothers and Marvin Gaye and Jimi Hendrix, and I can recognize that the Beatles and Kiss, and these are classic, not only artists, but they made classic records. Right? Mm-hmm. They made classic albums. I can recognize that. Mm-hmm. Also, at the same time, when we were like coming up, and I don't want to sound like the old guard versus the new guard. That's not really what I'm saying. It's more like when we were coming up, we weren't instantaneously like, yo, like this album is fire. And you might think it might be a classic, right? Mm-hmm. But like when the Blueprint came out, you know what I'm saying? Or even Illmatic, right? It was a classic maybe 5 years later. But when it came out, everybody was like, yo, this is nobody said that. It's a fire album. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and look, there are some things that you can listen to and off the bat you go like, oh, this is different. No, this you can tell this is going to stand the test of time.
Well, look at the Nas albums, right?
But I'm saying, are we overstating them? So it's not the fact that we can't call anything a classic. Okay. I think my point is, it's not coming across clearly.
Okay, all right.
It's not the fact that we can't call things classic in the moment. We are allowed anybody, any era, young, old, whatever, right? Like I don't fault somebody listening to like Lil Uzi Vert.
Right.
And they're like, and the album comes out and to them it's a classic, and it might be to that genre.
Right.
That type of hip hop, that type of, you know what I'm saying, R&B, whatever. Mm-hmm. That's fine. But are we overstating classics? Because just because something is a good album.
So you think it's happening more often than,
I think people just are just like everything's a fucking classic.
I got what you're saying now. But I don't know.
And it's not. And it's just not. No, it's just not.
Right.
It's just not. Because even classics can actually, they're genreless in a lot of ways. So like 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying, there's songs on that album that are used for people that don't even really listen to rap, bro.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like in the club is genreless.
Right.
It's hip hop.
Right.
Everybody listens to in the club.
Right. Everybody,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
everybody listens to that,
and there's so many Tupac records, Biggie, give me one. Even though that's a sample, these are records that have stood the test of time and are genreless in a sense. So we got to chill on like everything's a classic.
But then again, too, we won't know until time goes on. If the kids are correct in saying that particular album is a classic. You know what I mean?
Oh, man, I don't know, bro, but when when we heard Good Kid, Mad City, right? Mm-hmm. When we heard it, this is it's going to be a classic.
Right.
When you heard To Pimp a Butterfly, it's going to be a classic. Forest Hills Drive, it's going to be a classic. Like, you can tell. But, like, no offense, but Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, solid project. Is it a classic? People are like, this is a classic. Just because Kendrick put it out, and I love Kendrick, it doesn't make it a classic. That's what I'm saying. Right. I'm even talking about cats that I listen to, that we listen to. I'm not talking about the new era.
Right.
I'm talking in totality. Like, we can't just be like, yo, classic.
I get what you're saying. It's just overused. But
it's overstated.
But my thing too is, do we overuse it as well?
You think so?
You and me overuse classic, bro.
Man.
Yes, we do. We do it because you know why I don't have a problem with this? Is because it's a love for music, man. And I really do. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, because you are correct.
Right.
I'm going to give you your flowers here.
Okay.
In the sense that you are correct. Not everything the Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is not necessarily a classic, even though that label has been put on it already.
And it may be. It may be in 5 to 10 years, but right now it's not.
Right.
But Good Kid, Mad City, when it came out, was.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
All right, go ahead. I want you to go in.
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying, but I still think that it's just like when you love something, like it just speaks to you. For you, and like we use it, man. Like that's what I'm saying. We use it and go, like, for instance, I have to say this because the JIT album was our #1 album of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
For me and you, that's a classic album. I just talked to somebody the other day about that album.
Okay.
Don't really care about it.
They're
and
crazy.
It's not a classic album. And it's somebody that we know, and I'm not going to put them on blast.
No, you put them on blast. This is a great space.
I'm not going to put it on blast.
Put their ass on I want to know who it was. You know who you are. You need to call me.
So anyways, I'm just saying, it's not a classic to that person.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No,
So-
I'm with you. Okay.
So now they might go, well, okay, I understand that's a classic, but it's not for me. That might be another argument, right? Like, because there's some
That's
okay, but listen, because I will say it this way: I'm not a big Tupac fan. Now, did he put out great music? For sure. Listen, man. Are those albums classic? I guess, but not to me. They're not. But they are. But they're not for me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you, bro.
But again, it's this stuff, the new stuff, right? It's just gonna have to wait and see.
Keep it a buck. I've never really listened to the Beatles.
Right.
They have classic albums. I can say that because I know that they affected
I know.
a whole shit ton of people.
Right. Yes.
It may not did nothing to me,
Right.
but I know they did something to somebody else that was very effective. That's my point.
And that's my point. Like, you can't say, like, somebody who's saying that whatever's coming out that just came out goes, this is classic. Again, to them, that it is classic.
Okay,
bro.
so I'm going to switch gears here. Okay,
Okay.
we're kind of on the same page, a little bit different though.
Yeah.
And we'll circle back to this, but I'm going to use the next. I have these next two questions are very important.
Okay.
As I said, you have been on a vinyl Twitch lately. Just got a record player.
Mm-hmm.
Just stopped into a vinyl shop, copped a couple little records. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And we have talked through many interviews over the last year about the resurgence of physical copies, and how people are not only just selling them, but they're people are buying them. People are getting back into understanding the waveforms of
Can I stop you right there real quick? Because I got to throw out a fact. It's so weird that you said, I just saw this. Vinyl records has outsold CDs for the first time in 35 years in 2022.
Yeah,
I did not know CDs was still a thing, or people that were still buying those,
rarely.
right? But vinyl has finally surpassed the sales of CDs last year.
Okay.
And I'm sure 2023 that we're in right now is going to continue that trend. I'm already on the bandwagon.
Okay,
Go ahead, continue.
No, you're good. So, do you see this becoming not a trend, but a thing of like people going back to the physical copies, especially the vinyl, but even the CD, man, because the CDs offer better sound as well than the compressed MP3 audio, right? And do you think that this is going to lead, or this may be a part of a kind of a renaissance in music because there's always like weird periods in music where it's like kind of stagnant, and then boom, a whole new genre or just sound. And I feel like we're in that right now.
I'm waiting.
And I feel like vinyl is people buying vinyl and going back to the roots. I think it's going to be like, oh, damn, this is how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Okay, let's go that way.
So when I went into this record store that was here in town, man, it was fascinating that it was a multitude of people. So like legitimate, there was 16-year-olds in there. I could be wrong. There could be 17, 18.
Right.
But they looked really young.
Yeah. Older
all the way to, I would say, the oldest person I saw in there was probably in their 60s buying albums.
Dope.
The store was busy, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't packed, but it was busy.
There's people
for being at noon on a Friday.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, it was just so cool to see. You know what I mean? And I just started getting into this. Right. I've always been a big physical media type of person.
Right.
So obviously for me, it started with tapes, moved to CDs, and then I got off of it, man.
Right.
Like, because I'm like, and look at, man, I don't want to talk any crap about like the streaming, because it is awesome to have,
of course,
stuff just instantaneously on your phone. Get in your car, put it on the Bluetooth, and you got instant music for days.
Right.
Forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And listen to whatever you want, however you want. It is amazing.
Right.
Right? And you know this, but damn, does physical media, like physical albums, whether it be tape, CD, or an actual vinyl record, right? Which I think vinyl record personally sounds the best, and I think that's why it stood the test of time, because it's still the best form of sounding that you can. Ever. I don't know how it's done or what. I mean, I know we took a class on that, and I'm still like, man, technology, we should already be there by now. But anyways, beside the point. To have that physical in your hand is amazing, man.
Right.
There and it could be me, but I see kids getting into it. So I'm like, there's something holding on to this, right? Because it's cool to listen to music. Right, in your car. You're not looking at but it's so cool, man, to open that up and then have the lyrics on the inside, all the pictures, and some of them have like a pull out of,
straight poster
stuff, or like pull out and it's like, just pictures of the band or the group or whatever. And it's just like, that is so cool. And I think the other part of it too is, especially for me, I love supporting artists, and I know putting your stuff on Apple Music, Spotify, yada, 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 whatever, does not really support your artist.
Right.
You could listen to them all day.
Right.
I mean, if they get anything, and I don't know the numbers, like if you have to get over 1 million or whatever it is, right, to see some sort of
cents on the dollar, bro.
Right. And I mean, you have to get a lot of plays, probably, to get any cut of anything,
which is wild to me.
It's crazy, right?
That's wild to me.
So it's awesome, dude, to be support the artists that you love, man, by buying a vinyl or buying a CD or whatever. I know tapes are coming back. It's really kind of cool, man. People are buying actual tapes. Tapes have a really good sound to them, man. I think they're second, right behind vinyl.
Well, and
they just don't last as long.
And and it's not audio, but you even see people buying, old school cameras, like the original, like going into the thrift shops and buying like Polaroids and stuff like that, like the original. So I think, everything recycles, right? And they wore bell bottoms, in the 60s, 70s. Then they wore baggy jeans, and then they brought bell bottoms back, and then now it's kind of a weird in between version of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything just recycles. So, but I do think that the resurgence of physical copies. Now, I don't know if CDs will be a part of that. Just because you can damage a CD so easily. That's the other thing.
You could damage.
You could damage vinyl record too. But when you touch it, like when you have a CD, when you grab a vinyl record, you treat that thing like a baby. You know what I mean? Like a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like you
do. Yeah.
Like you put gloves on, you know what I'm saying? You might wrap it in your shirt, you know what I mean? You talking to it on the way to the record player, like you put the needle down all delicate. Man, we used to be like CD, grab it, be like flack 'em.
Oh yeah.
Flack 'em.
Right. And scratch.
Boom. Play.
Yeah.
Scratch.
I do I agree with you actually.
In broad daylight and you scratched it.
I think CDs are probably the worst form of physical media in the sense of like it's
how damaged. Yeah.
It can get damaged pretty quickly, and then shortly, actually, right behind that would probably be the tape. Because if a tape gets jammed up in but I don't know how they work today, though, man. We might have perfected it for all I know, and they don't ever get jammed no more.
To me, I would never go back to tape.
Right.
Like recording the tape is great for all the music and engineer heads out there. You know, recording the tape is fire, and that getting transferred to vinyl is fire. But actually listening to an audio tape, hell no. It just takes too goddamn long.
Why? What do you mean?
The rewind and the fat, man, if I got to get to track, that means the albums. See, maybe we should go back to tape so everybody got fire albums.
I'm telling you, bro.
That might be how you do it.
I don't know if who started but it might have been Eminem, man. Like I saw him on an interview and he was in his room or wherever. His whole wall was full of cassette tapes, and he was talking about it. I think it might have been Zane Lowe, man. I'm not sure, but anyways, he was like, "Oh yeah, man, I've been trying to collect all this stuff for years, you know, trying to get all these." I'm like, bro, that's crazy. And then going into the vinyl shop that I went into, man, has CDs and tape there too. Okay. So it's like, now those were little sections of the store, right? Right. But it's still, okay, there's still a need for physical media.
Yeah. And a want.
Yes.
All right.
I love physical media, dude. I think for music anyways, like physical media for a movie and stuff is really kind of pointless for me. I'm not saying if somebody has like a thing for physical media for movies and stuff, I think that's fine. But for music in general, there's something more. Like it's almost more interactable.
It's because of the waveform too. Yeah, and that's part too. Yeah,
and it's more interactive. Whereas because you're listening, but then also you could flip it open, like I said, and read what the lyrics are, or look at the pictures. Man,
and for those and most of our listeners and watchers probably know because they right there with us. But for those watching, and you sitting around with your kids and your kids watching with you, listening. The back of the pamphlet, the inside of the pamphlet of the CD was life. And then the occasional we got the poster. Like with the poster in there, fire.
Right. But I think physical media, and this is across all genres of physical media, right? Mm-hmm. I think companies killed physical media on purpose though, because of that. Like, it's almost like video games. Remember video games would come with a cool pamphlet on the inside, bro, where it had, like, the pictures and, like, art drawings and all that stuff. Now you get a physical media of a video game. It's just a damn disc in there. Mm-hmm. There ain't nothing in there but a disc. And to me, it's like, what's the point?
Right.
There is no point. But if they went back, and I know they do, like, deluxe versions and all that stuff, and they do put, like, art books and stuff like that. But you have to spend a crazy extra amount of dollars in there, right? Just to get that. No, bro. Like, they used to come with the game anyways.
Right.
And again, with CDs, and CDs kind of even went away from that. Do you remember when they even started limiting those slide out books? Where it would just be like, it would flip just like, and it would be nothing on the inside. It might have been their faces or a face and like, just extended version of the album cover or something. Mm-hmm. And you were like, dumb.
Right.
Why? And then you got the CD. I mean, obviously, you still listen to it, but there's something about having more to it.
It was an experience, man.
I think that might be the key, too.
You can't eat cereal without reading the back of the box. You feel me?
Well, that's the thing, bro. That is exactly right.
You can't eat cereal without reading the back of the box. It's the same applies to music, man. You got to have the poster. I need to know who produced what track, who wrote and that was the other thing, too, is you got to know who was behind the scenes. And I know there's a lot more of that with social media being more open, but there's so many people that are involved in things that you're like, man, who wrote da-da-da-da-da? Because not all these people are writing their own songs.
It was so cool. Not only that, though, right? Like, I like to know who mixed it, who engineered.
Man.
Bro, there was a list. When I opened up one of my, vinyls and I was looking, man, I was like, oh, that's cool, man. Like, I'm going to remember these names. Not remember verbatim, but I'm like, okay, I'll remember, see if that name pops up again somewhere else. You know, when they mix their master engineers and stuff. Dude, those people are just as important to me as the artists are. I mean, artists are, obviously they're creating music and stuff like that, but engineers are making that sound pretty damn good, though. You got to give props to those engineers.
Got to give props to the engineers.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you, man. Well, anyways, what do y'all think? Are classics overstated? And is there going to be a renaissance? A new wave, if you will, of music? Doesn't matter what genre, just all across the board. And are you guys buying vinyls? Are you rocking with it? Do you got a record? I got one. I need to get my vinyl game up like this guy over here. You know what I mean? I just got like 2 vinyls, but I'm going to go steal something from a mama house. You know what I mean?
Shoot. Yeah, man. So, you know what? You know what's classic? The show is classic. You guys stay safe. You guys stay positive out there.
And as always, this is The Gray Space. Peace.